Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce you a collective research, prospective directions of state regulation of green energy development in the context of Ukraine's energy safety. So the research aim is to analyze and summarize the world's leading trends and factors of state regulation of green energy development as a key element of energy safety of mankind at stage of transition to a globalized society. So, of course, Russian aggression exposed all the problems of energy safety of our country, and it has forced the Ukrainian government to start reforms to diversify energy sources. These measures are unsystematic and insufficient. Level of their implementation does not meet today's challenges. It is evidenced by all these such shameful statistics for us, yes, and for example, the one is given here by the analytical center carbon tracker. Yes, the heat generation in Ukraine is the most inefficient and most expensive in the world. Therefore, it is important to study the world's advanced approaches, mechanisms, and tools of state regulation of green energy development as a key element of its energetic safety. So these are following models of energy safety. The first one is like actually guaranteed energy safety. It's difficult for countries that are not only able to fully meet their own energy problems, but also have their significant reserves for sale. It's like United Arab Emirates, Venezuela, and other OPEC countries. So the second model of self-sufficient energy safety is typical for countries whose own energy resources are sufficient for domestic needs, but not enough for exports, as in India, for example. So the next model is typical for countries whose energy needs require input of energy, and measures aim at diversifying energy sources, stimulating the introduction of alternative energy technologies. And such countries include EU, all European Union countries, including Ukraine. So the fourth model, when a country is forced to import more than 50% of the required amount of energy, so it's like Japan. Generation of fossil fuel electricity was the most important driver of economic development since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Environmental consequences of this development are not taken into account for a long time until nature declares itself. Rising world temperatures, rising sea levels, ocean pollution, and other effects of climate change. So-called green economy, it was just for journalistic purposes, or alternative energy economy, as it is mentioned in scientific publications, yes. So abandons dominance of non-renewable hydrocarbon resources in favor of virtually endless sources. So like actually these figures show the breakdown of primary energy that is shown based on the substitution method, which takes into account inefficiencies in energy production from fossil fuel. Particular one is based on the global energy production for 2019 year, and it can be seen that almost 16% of global primary energy came from low carbon sources. Low carbon sources are the sum of nuclear energy and renewables, which include hydropower, wind, solar, bioenergy, and so on. 11.4% came from renewables, and 4.3% came from nuclear. So this figure shows energy consumption in Ukraine by source. So its primary energy consumption is measured in terawatt hours. An efficiency factor, the substitution methods had been applied for fossil fuels, meaning the shares by each energy source give a better approximation of finally energy consumption. So this situation requires urgent measures of state stimulation of green energy sector development in Ukraine. And among these measures can be defined the next ones. So it's like actually introduction of a green tariff, exemption from import duties when importing certain types of equipment for renewable energy, exemption from taxation of operations on import of certain types of renewable resources, and also it also can be offered at a state level, yes, to increase attractiveness of those renewable sources development that have high probability for economic payback in future and are the most promising in terms of production in Ukraine, to support development and implementation of competitive technologies, and to stimulate localization of production and the necessary equipment. So as a conclusion, or to conclude, yes, that rapid depletion of natural traditional energy resources on the planet and their constant price rise in the face of growing human needs for electricity will inevitably lead to rapid replacement of hydrocarbon economy by green economy based on renewable energy sources. The world's leading countries actively develop alternative energy as a factor in energy safety improving. It improves environment, increases standard and quality of life. Ukraine should develop and actively implement new energy strategy, but smartly, yes, based on effective state regulators and aimed at diversifying energy dependence on Russia and a gradual transition to the dominance of renewable energy sources. Our state should provide comprehensive legal, fiscal, tax, financial, informational, and organizational support for creation and use of energy power plants, grant and investment support for scientific and technological developments in this area. Thank you very much for your attention.